What would you do with $1 billion? Buy a yacht? A mansion? Maybe a hospital? That's cute. One guy dropped part of his first billion on a submarine car. Another blew it on 6 mansions he barely lived in. And someone literally got scammed out of it by their own spouse. Yeah, you're gonna want to see this, because these are the most unhinged, ridiculous, and kind of genius ways billionaires spent their first billion. And trust me, it only gets dumber from here. Elon Musk bought a whole neighborhood. When Elon Musk made his first billion, he didn't just buy a house, he bought the block. No joke, dude went full Monopoly mode in Bel Air, Los Angeles, snatching up mansion after mansion like he was collecting Pokemon. One to sleep in, one for guests, one just to throw parties, and one supposedly just for his stuff. That's right, Elon Musk had a mansion functioning as a billionaire-sized junk drawer. At one point, he owned 6 mansions on the same street. 6 on one street. But here's the plot twist. Just a few years later, he sold everything. He tweeted, because of course he did, that he was selling almost all physical possessions and didn't want to own a house. From mega mogul to minimalist? People were confused. Some said it was a stunt to seem humble. Others thought it was a galaxy brain move to pump Tesla's stock by proving he was all in. Whatever the reason, his first billion let him live like a real estate warlord, then walk away like it was just a Tuesday. And that's just chapter 1. Because the next billionaire, he blew his first billion by launching himself into a flying science project and eating it. Sergey Brin's $300,000 burger. Most people celebrate a big payday with a fancy dinner. Sergey Brin, he dropped $330,000 on a burger. But not just any burger. This one came from a lab. No cow, no grill, no moo. Just Petri dishes, test tubes, and 4 years of biotech research. Why? Because Sergey didn't want a steakhouse flex. He wanted to eat the future. He bankrolled the world's first lab-grown meat company. And after years of development, they handed him a single synthetic patty. He took a bite and said, "Not bad." Which is hilarious, because this thing cost more than a Ferrari. But here's the kicker. That one meh mouthful sparked a global revolution. Today, lab-grown meat is a billion-dollar race, with Michelin chefs plating science burgers like their filet mignon. So yeah, Brin spent a fortune on one bite. But he might have jump-started the food of tomorrow. And that was just lunch. Because after that, he went full sci-fi. Bought 3 mega yachts, one with its own helicopter pad, and dumped over $50 million into a flying car startup called Kitty Hawk. It flopped, but not before building a prototype that looked like a Bond villain's getaway drone. Still, none of that compares to his real billion-dollar mistake. Because the next time Sergey splurged, it ended in betrayal. And yep, Elon Musk was right at the center of it. Jeff Bezos and the $42 million clock. Most rich people buy a Rolex. Jeff Bezos? He bought a clock. That'll tick for the next 10,000 years. And yeah, it cost him $42 million. Deep inside a remote mountain in West Texas, Bezos is building what he calls the Clock of the Long Now, a giant mechanical timepiece buried in stone. No screens, no batteries, just massive gears, hand-forged parts, and a staircase winding through the ages. It's designed to keep ticking through civilizations, blackouts, and probably a few apocalypses. Why? Because Bezos says billionaires should plan for the far future. Noble idea. But let's be real, $42 million on a clock no one can even see? It's giving Bond a villain, with a philosophy degree. And that's just the beginning of Bezos' billionaire bucket list. He also owns a $500 million sailboat, so enormous they had to take apart a historic bridge just to move it. 3 masts, a pool, a hot tub, and oh yeah, a second yacht to carry the cars, the helicopter, and the crew. Because when you're Jeff Bezos, your yacht needs a sidekick. But even all that, still not the wildest billionaire on this list. Because the next guy, he built something so over the top, it takes 600 full-time staff just to keep it running. The $2 billion skyscraper mansion. If you thought buying 6 mansions was over the top, try building a skyscraper just for yourself. That's exactly what Mukesh Ambani, India's richest man, did with his first billion. He built Antilia, a 27-story personal tower in the heart of Mumbai that cost over $2 billion. Yeah, billion with a B. It's not a house, it's a fortress, a vertical palace. Basically, the real-life lair of a Bond villain with a yoga habit. What's inside? Oh, just 3 helipads, 6 floors of car parking, a private snow room that makes real ice in tropical Mumbai, A ballroom dripping in crystal chandeliers. A spa, a yoga studio, multiple swimming pools, a private movie theater, and a 600-person staff to keep it all running like a luxury hotel. That's right. You need a literal army just to turn the lights on. But here's the kicker. He barely even lives there. He's always flying around, staying in other luxury spots. So this $2 billion mega home, half the time it's just sitting there, like the world's most expensive Airbnb no one uses. So far, we've seen burgers, boats, and buildings. But the next guy, he didn't just want luxury, he wanted power. Because he blew his first billion chasing the ultimate flex, the White House. Let's talk about the billionaire who ran for president and burned $1 billion in just 90 days. The $1 billion presidential burnout. Most people use money to avoid politics. Michael Bloomberg, he lit $1 billion on fire, just to get embarrassed on national TV. In 2019, Bloomberg wasn't content funding campaigns, he became the campaign. He launched a full-on, self-funded presidential run and dropped over $1 billion in just a few months. We're talking wall-to-wall TV ads, social media saturation, campaign offices in every state. He outspent everyone, even the Democratic Party itself. And what did all that cash buy him? One debate, one shot under the spotlight, where he got absolutely torched. By the end of the night, people were calling it the most expensive public roasting in political history. He dropped out the next day. Think about it. The man spent more than Bezos's mega yacht, more than Elon's jet fleet, and twice what Trump blew on his casino empire. All for some internet memes and a participation trophy. But hey, not every billionaire blows their fortune chasing power. Some, they go full pharaoh, building golden empires, flying hospitals, and floating fortresses wrapped in bulletproof glass. And next up is the guy who made Trump's lifestyle look low budget. Helicopters, casinos, golden yachts. Let's meet the man who spent like a god and wanted to be treated like one. Trump's gold-plated billionaire playground. Say what you want about Donald Trump, but when it came to blowing his first billion, he didn't just spend big. He became a full Bond villain. Forget yachts. He bought a $30 million floating fortress, wrapped in bulletproof glass, dripping in gold, and loaded with a helipad, pool, sauna, and, yep, a full-blown hospital. Because when you're Trump, you don't just cruise, you prepare for battle. And that was just his warm-up. He also scooped up 3 gold-plated helicopters at $7 million a pop, and a $100 million private jet he calls Trump Force One. Think less transportation, more flying Versailles. Leather seats, marble countertops, a full bedroom. And rumor has it, even the seatbelts are 24-karat gold. Of course they are. Then there's the 7 mansions, spread across New York, Florida, California, Europe, the Caribbean, you name it. Together, they're worth over $118 million, styled like a billionaire fever dream, collided with a royal palace. But his biggest swing? A $1.2 billion casino empire, roller coasters, fountains, 5-star restaurants, part playground, part power move, part ego sculpture. And the twist? Most of it crumbled. The casinos tanked, the mansions changed hands. But the legend? That lived on. Still, even Trump's golden kingdom looks modest compared to what's next. Because when Larry Ellison went spending, he skipped the mansions and mega yachts, and bought a fighter jet, and a whole damn island. Larry Ellison bought a jet, a samurai yacht, and a Hawaiian island. Larry Ellison, co-founder of Oracle, didn't just blow his first billion. He went full-tech warlord mode. Let's start with his $75 million private jet. Cool, right? But Larry wasn't after cool. He wanted to be combat ready. So he also bought 2 military fighter jets. One Italian, one Soviet. Most guys get a Lamborghini. Larry got planes designed to shoot down other planes. And then came the yacht. But not just any yacht. This beast is called Musashi, after a legendary Japanese samurai. Price tag? $166 million. It's basically a floating museum meets warrior temple, filled with actual samurai artifacts. Plus an onboard gym, a cinema, and, obviously, a helipad. Because size is whatever. Symbolism is the real flex. But nothing, and we mean nothing, tops this. Larry bought a whole Hawaiian island. Not a beach house, not a chunk of land. He dropped $600 million to own 98% of Lanai. Resorts, schools, agriculture, all under his name. He says he wants to build a utopia. Some locals say it feels more like a billionaire's personal simulation, and they're NPCs. And just for kicks, he spent another billion on luxury mansions, from North Palm Beach to Porcupine Creek. It's like he's playing Monopoly, and everyone else is the board. But believe it or not, Larry still doesn't take the crown, because the next guy bought a $130 million book made from recycled poop water, and enough farmland to feed an entire nation. Yeah, we're going there. Bill Gates and the $130 million poop water machine. When it comes to weird billionaire buys, Bill Gates might just take the crown. Not because he bought the biggest yacht or the flashiest jet, but because he literally turned poop into water. Yep, Gates dropped millions on a machine that processes human waste and transforms it into clean drinking water. Why? To solve sanitation problems in developing countries. And yes, he drank it on camera, part philanthropy, part science flex. Totally on brand for the guy who casually said he wants to save the world. But don't let the humanitarian vibe fool you. Bill can blow cash like a pro. He owns 5 private jets, including 2 Gulfstream G650s worth $78 million each. And where do they take him? To his fleet of mega mansions around the world. The crown jewel? A $130 million estate in Washington with an indoor pool, fish-filled ponds, a trampoline room, and walls that change artwork depending on your mood. But here's the kicker. Gates spent another $130 million on one book. Not just any book. Leonardo da Vinci's Codex Leicester. It's the most expensive book ever sold. And now, it lives in a climate-controlled vault. Probably only read by Bill. Oh, and did we mention? He's now the largest private farmland owner in the US, over 250,000 acres. Which is a bit ironic for a guy pushing lab-grown meat as the future of food. So yeah, Bill didn't just spend his first billion. He redefined what it means to be rich. And now that we've seen burgers, blimps, samurai yachts, flying labs, and billion-dollar flops, let's break it down. What does all of this say about how billionaires think, and what it costs to live like one? So now you've seen it, the craziest ways billionaires blew their first billion. From Elon's mansion hoard to Gates sipping sewage. From flying cars to golden yachts. One thing's clear. That first billion isn't about money, it's about image. Some flexibility, some save, some crash and burn, but none of them buy peace or time. If this video made you gasp, laugh, or yell, "No way," hit that like button. Subscribe for more insane deep dives into the wild world of the ultra-rich. And tell me in the comments, what's the first thing you'd buy with $1 billion? Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, stay curious. And remember, how you spend your first billion says everything